Welcome back into the Capitol Hoop Caucus on ESPN 630. That is Troy Halliburton, and that is Isaac Harris. I'm Wardell McCabe. Thank you all again so much for joining us. As we made note at the top of the show, the Mystic season is now over, so it feels appropriate for us to have one final scouting report on the team, which is when our hosts take turns reviewing and assessing the players' performances, letting you know whether their stock is up, down, or neutral. Only this time will be for each player's entire season, so there's going to be more players than you're accustomed to when we go through this. And just a quick note, as we're going through the roster, we'll be doing so in order of the minutes they played for the Mystics this season. All right, you guys ready to begin?
Yeah.
All right, then let's grade the Mystics roster this season. First up, Troy, stock up, stock down on Sonia Citron.
Oh, stock's got to be all the way up. I think Sonia Citron, coming in as the number 3 overall draft pick, I think that, people were expecting her to, have a decent WNBA season, but for her to actually, be in contention for Rookie of the Year, I think that she really showed that, she's a player in this league. And, I love the fact that Sonia Citron, that she got better as the season went along. And, after they traded away Brittany Sykes, that, she really showed that, she could be a primary scorer in the WNBA. And so for me, her stock's got to be all the way up.
All right, Isaac.
Sonia's stock is up for me because not only her scoring improved, her defense improved. She showed more that she is that person, and she's turning into, dare I say, a hooper, your favorite hooper's hooper, because of how she stepped up all of her level. Like, she kind of took the jump saying, all right, Brittany Sykes is out. I'm going to just take over everything I can and do the best I can for the squad. So I have to give her stock all the way up.
All right. Well, you used a cliche in there, and I love that cliche. Favorite hooper's hooper. So I'm going to give you the point for round 1, and let's circle back around Isaac. Stock up, stock down on Kiki Iriafen.
Her stock went up, but not too much because she did have a little slide. But overall, it has to be up because she did finish strong. She broke a couple records in there, and she made AP All-Rookie team. And she kind of showed that she is possibly going to be the face of the front court for this organization for a long time, so stock up.
Troy?
Yeah, I'm going to go stock up as well. I think that, Kiki definitely had an amazing rookie season to be named the WNBA All-Star. She broke all type of Mystics records. I really was impressed by her ability to score down in the post, but I was impressed by her mid-range jump shot. I think that she showed me a lot more skills than what I thought coming into the season. And I think that, really that she, last year when she was playing on that USC Trojans squad behind Juju, I think that she didn't really get a chance to showcase all of her skills, and that, the Mystics really put her in the best possible position to succeed. And so, I think that she had a definite successful season. Her stock has to be up for the year.
All right. Well, if you know me, you know I love the midi. And just for mentioning, that means that Troy gets a point for this round. And Troy, I'll ask you for the next round. Stock up, stock down on Shug Sutton.
Well, stock's got to be up for Shug Sutton. She averaged 7.4 points per game this season. That's up from, she averaged 2 points per game last year. She shot 42% from the field and 35% from 3, while also being the team's primary defender on some of their guard play. I think for me, Shug Sutton has definitely established herself as a WNBA rotation player. And so, if there were to be a name that the Mystics would add as far as a player that they probably need to keep, I think that she would be at the top of that list, right behind Shakira Austin. So her stock has to be up for the season because she, like I said, she came in, she did her job, and really solidified herself as a WNBA rotation player.
Isaac?
I have to agree. Stock up, but for a different reason. It's because of the way she played these last 2 games. She really tried to step up herself as a scorer and try to take that leap, although it wasn't a great leap in comparison, she was going to go double digits. Sugg did, it just showed impressively that, hey, she has the ability to make a way to score. And that's, to me, as a former player, that's one offseason away of becoming, I'm not just a rotational player. I'm the 6th man coming off a bench.
Well, she knew her job and she knew her role. She knew it well. And you know who else knew their role this round? Troy. That's why he gets the points this one. But let's move on to round 4. Isaac, stock up, stock down on Jade Melbourne.
Stock down. She didn't finish this year as strong as I would like post the trade deadline. I think she kind of took a step back a little bit, although she did have some highlights to where she kind of showed out where she is the capable scorer that she is. I think, in my opinion, just a slightly little stock down.
Troy?
And for me, their stock has to be down. When you look at what she did last summer with the Australian national team in the Olympics, I think that the level of expectation was a little bit higher for her coming into this season. She only averaged 5.9 points per game this season, which was barely up from 5.4 points per game last season. But she played 14 minutes last year, and she played 23 minutes a game this year. So she played almost 10 more minutes per game, and her production really didn't go up at all. So to me, I think that her shooting percentages went down for the year. I have to look at the fact that she had an increased role and really didn't do much with it. And so to me, that is a little bit disappointing from her, especially with the level of expectations that we had coming into the year for her.
Well, her expectations may not have been met, but I can certainly say that yours were. That's why this round goes to Troy again. And Troy, I'll tee it up for you here. Stock up, stock down, and Shakira Austin.
Stock's got to be up. The AP Comeback Player of the Year. I think when you look at the fact that she came into this season on very shaky ground with as far as just her ability to be on the basketball court. So the fact that she really kind of got into her rhythm with her health, and she was able to come back and play the way that she did this year, and really establish herself as a key cog in the foundation of this team moving forward. I was very impressed with how much she dominated some of these games. And I'm going to be happy to see her in a Mystics uniform for years to come. But her stock for this season as AP Comeback Player of the Year has to be up.
Stock's up. She's a local girl. We got to give her the credit. Stock's always going to be up. She came in there literally questioning she was going to be traded at the trade deadline, and then she's solidified and hey, maybe she is the foundational piece to stay with this incoming rookie classes that are here to come. So I got to give Shakira that. Stock all the way up.
Local girl from where?
From VA.
What city?
I want to say I'm tripping Fredericksburg.
It is Fredericksburg.
Yeah.
And for that reason, I've lived in the Bird, so you get yourself a point for that. And we're going to move on to the next round. Isaac, stock up, stock down on Stephanie Dolson.
Big Mama, I'm sorry, your stock is down. I hate to say it. It toward the end of the year, you kind of shied away from what the purpose was as that backup big to help out, to be that backup big to help, secure that front court. Unfortunately, the age is starting to show. Although you're a great veteran presence, I think it's time for Stephanie Dolson to be on a title contender team rather than being the vet that she's teaching. So stock a little down.
And Troy?
Is she going to be a coach on that team? Or I'm going to say stock down for Stephanie, Big Mama Steph. I think, she really struggled this year, going up against some of the elite bigs across the WNBA. And to me, as one of the weak spots on the team, being like that backup big position, I thought that, she tries and she puts forth a lot of effort, but when her 3-point shot isn't falling, she pretty much is a liability on the court because she gives no rim protection whatsoever. I think Big Mama Steph still has a role in WNBA teams, as that, wily vet who can come in and, help educate the young players. But I think that her best days playing on the court are probably behind her.
I didn't even have water in my mouth and you almost made me do a spit take. I don't know if that's possible, so you'll get the point that round. Let's close it out here, Troy. Stock up, stock down on Emily Engstler.
I'm going to say stock the same. I'm going to say her stock remained the same. I don't think that there really was no level of expectation for her coming into this season. And so for her to play the way that she did, I thought that she had some moments throughout the season where it was like, okay, this girl might be a player. And then, that 10-game losing streak happened. And I think that, Coach Sydney Johnson eventually lost faith in her ability to be on the court and be productive. So she started playing a lot less minutes towards the end of the season. And so that's really tough when you can't even get minutes on a team that is on a 10-game losing streak. So, but like I said, her level of to have her have the season that she did really come out of nowhere, I think that for her, it would definitely be a success. But I can't say that her stock is up because of the way that she finished the season.
Isaac?
I'm going to have to disagree. I'm just going to say her stock is down. She, although is a young player, still trying to figure out her way in this league. She's older than some of the rookies, and she had the opportunity to step up. Like you mentioned, if your coach loses faith in you during a 10-game losing streak, which has happened to me before, I've had a coach lose faith in me and not play me when we're bad. And when you're the older vet, it's not a good look. So, especially for her, if she's looking for another opportunity, whether with the Mystics or another organization, she didn't get a chance to really show that and use those opportunities that she needed to use. So, stock down.
All right, well, we reward taking a stance here, so that last point goes Isaac's way. But for this week, tallying up the results, a score of 4-3. That is Troy, who comes out ahead in my scoring book, but everyone at home, you may have a different scoring card. So please feel free to let us know by texting to the show at 833-377-6630 or messaging us on Instagram or X. Where, Isaac?
On Cap Hoop Caucus on X and then Capital Hoop Caucus on Instagram.
That's right. Or you can also scroll to the podcast description of this very episode and click on Message the Show. And now that we're on YouTube, you can also leave a comment to let us know who it is that you think provided the better score this week. But some of the players that we mentioned there, and you both made your arguments in discussing those players, have made the AP All-Rookie team because the Associated Press has unveiled their award winners for the WNBA's 2025 regular season. They were as follows: AP Player of the Year, A'ja Wilson; Defensive Player of the Year, A'ja Wilson; Most Improved Player, Veronica Burton; Sixth Woman of the Year, Naz Hillman; and then Comeback Player of the Year, Shakira Austin; and on the All-Rookie team, Paige Beckers, Layla Lakin, Janelle Saloon, Kiki Iriafen, and Sonia Citron. So now that we have the AP awards, what better thing to do than select our own award winners for this? And so we'll start with Troy. Who do you have as the WNBA's MVP this year?
Man, now this was probably the closest race that a WNBA voter probably had this year. And, you know, shout out to all the people who actually have a ballot and they had to submit it because this is a tough one. But for me, I went with A'ja Wilson. And it comes down to a very simple thing for me, the numbers. The numbers added up, and, you know, she led the league in total points. She led the league in total rebounds and points per game. She had her defensive win shares, offensive win shares, total win shares. She led her Las Vegas Aces on a 17-game win streak to end the season, and they went from basically out of the playoffs as a 9 or 8 seed, and they shot all the way up to the number 2 seed. You know, I think that she just really solidified her dominance in the WNBA this season. And so, to me, it came between her and Napheesa Collier, but Napheesa, she just missed too many games for me to not reward A'ja for just putting in work for the entirety of this WNBA season.
It was tough for me because I wanted to see Fee get her MVP after last year heartbreak, but who knows? Maybe she might get a Finals MVP. We don't know yet. But A'ja Wilson, the GOAT from the Midlands, South Carolina, I got to give it to her. Like, Troy explained it with the stats. She stepped up. She carried what was supposed to be an 8th and 9th seed team back to the 2 seed. She's a GOAT. She's dominating. We're looking at the best equivalent of Shaq in their prime. You can't stop her. You're not stopping A'ja.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
No, and this is all in spite of Fee. She had a 50-40-90 season.
Exactly.
So, there's nothing to discredit for Collier's season. It's just, and I feel bad, but A'ja just had a higher peak. For a very large part of this season, everyone was choosing Collier as their MVP, and it's partly because A'ja was showing some signs of regression, but the last month and a half, it looks like the best version of A'ja Wilson we've ever seen. It's crazy, and that's wild to say, but no, I think that she has done enough to close this season to merit an MVP. But let's move on to Defensive Player of the Year. Isaac, who do you have as DPOY?
Defensive Player of the Year, I have Alana Smith. Just because she's been showing, there's nothing that has been stopping her. I mean, in a perfect world, I would love to give A'ja just both two because she's been very effective defensively too. But Alana Smith has been just as effective. She's been averaging almost 2 blocks a game this season. With me and that logic, that's Defensive Player of the Year right there, said and done.
Well, A'ja Wilson led the league in blocks, so I'm going to say that is the same reason why I'm going to go with A'ja Wilson. She also had the highest defensive win shares for a WNBA player. She was second in rebounds per game, but led the league in total rebounds. And so for me, like, I think that her defensive intensity was probably a main catalyst for the Aces finishing out the season as strong as they did. And so, yeah, I think she's the best defender in the WNBA. And so, I would give it to her.
All right. Now let's move on to Rookie of the Year. Obviously, the Mystics had some players in the running. Troy, who do you have as your Rookie of the Year?
I'm going to go with Paige Beckers. I think that, what she did in Dallas from an individual standpoint was nothing short of amazing. Like she broke multiple WNBA rookie records. She had the highest scoring total game this season with her 44-point outing. And to me, I just think that she played with a level of poise throughout the season that just really showed that she's just unflappable as a player. And so I really enjoyed the fact that she is a dominant scorer, but she was also out there getting her assist numbers up. She and with her teammates really not hitting a lot of shots. I think that, when it comes to individual efforts, and this is an individual award, I thought that she put forth the best rookie individual effort and that she deserves this probably in a landslide.
Yeah, I certainly would love to see the numbers of how many missed shots off good passes that Paige has had, because there's been a lot of wide open looks she's like teed up for her teammates and they've just been blanking them. But Isaac, who do you have as Rookie of the Year?
Y'all going to hate me, and I'm going to get text messages, but I'm going to be like Drewski and stand on business.
Still going with this.
I'm still going with it. And I don't care. And I love Paige. She had a historic rookie year, but I'm still going to give it to my girl Sonia Citron, just because of her impact alone. Although, yes, Paige did outscore her in most records, and offensively, defensively, I don't think they're as equal as they are. Sonia proved to be a defensive anchor for the Mystics and actually increased their win share more than Paige did. I know it's an individual award, but I'm looking at impact on team overall. If you take away each player, if you take away Sonia, Mystics are probably even worse than Dallas at one point, because you even had Dejanay Carrington in there. So that's where I'm standing on. I know it's going to look a little crazy, but I'm staying on that. And like my favorite song that was played, I'm not walking away from the love from a great Mystic.
I hear you. I'm going with Paige. I mean, she had 44 points and she shot like 17 for 21 for the field.
I know she's efficient. She's great. But like I said, I'm staying. I'll be the one voter. Like, you know what?
All right, I can respect that. But tell me, who do you have as your sixth player of the year?
My sixth player of the year. It did change. I still want to give it to why am I blanking on the name for the Atlanta Dream?
Naz Hillman.
Yeah, Naz Hillman. I still want to give it to Naz Hillman, but yeah, I'm still going to give it to Naz Hillman. She's played a productive role, and especially with that Atlanta Dream team, which to me kind of came out of shocking with a brand new coach. You never know what to expect, but she played a role with a brand new system, brand new team, a lot of new players. Yeah, she kind of solidified herself.
Shout out to the stud buds. I'm going to go with Natisha Heidemann as my sixth player of the year. She averaged 8.8 points per game, which was one of the highest point totals for a bench player. And to me, like, the fact that it's not about how you start the game, it's about how you finish the game. And to me, like, I think that she's had so many clutch moments this year and is a mainstay and reason why the Minnesota Lynx were the best team in the WNBA. And she was just highly entertaining over the course of the entirety of the season. So, again, shout out to the stud buds and Natisha Heidemann. I hope that she accepts her award on stream for the chat.
I'm going to go with Heidemann as well, in part for the same reason that I went with A'ja. Heidemann just closed out the season a little bit better than Hillman did. In September alone, in the 5 games there, Heidemann averaged 18.5 points per game, just under 3 rebounds a game, and just under 4.5 assists per game. Compare that to Hillman, who also had 5 games, and she was averaging 12.2 points per game, 6 rebounds, and 3 assists. So, bare numbers, Heidemann just closed out the season a little bit stronger, and I think for the better part of the season, they were pretty neck and neck. So I think that Heidemann just did just enough to surpass there. But let's move on now to most improved player. Troy, who do you have as your MIP?
I'm going to go with Veronica Burton. I think that when you look at the Golden State Valkyries, like they didn't have any expectations coming into this season. And for them to have made the WNBA playoffs, and Veronica Burton probably was, one of their best players for the entirety of the season, I think that she really showed that, she's got game. And, with her being, probably one of the main catalysts as to why they had such a successful season, I think that this is a very appropriate award to be given to her for, what her role was on that team.
Isaac?
I have to give it to Veronica Burton. She's just played an amazing role and improved their stats, especially coming to an expansion team, which you have no idea where it was going. And initially, for that first couple games there, we had no idea what they were thinking either. We were like, okay, what are we doing here? And they figured out what they were doing, and they're like, you know what, we're here to win. And Veronica Burton is a huge puzzle piece for that and why they're so successful right now.
Yeah, I'm going to go a little bit against the grain there. I hear you on Burton. I think one thing that I've always had a gripe with this award in any sport, in any league really, is that it tends to be given to those who just see a massive increase in minutes. But I think I want to go with a player who only saw a minimal increase in minutes and just saw a massive increase in production, and that would be Azurá Stevens with the Sparks. Because she only saw an increase in 3.5 minutes per game, which is very small year over year, but her core stats increased pretty significantly, that being her rebounds, assists, and points. But not only they increased, but her shooting also did massively. Last year, she shot 39% from the field and 40% from the year prior. This year, she hit 47% of her shots while shooting more per game. And so I think that's wildly impressive, and that is also true for her three-point shooting. The past 2 seasons, she shot 35% and 32% from the field, respectively. And then this year, that bounced back up to 38% on more shots. So for a player who is at this age, I think she's, 28 or 29? I think that is a massive improvement and step forward for her career, and it helped for a team like the Sparks try to get into playoff contention. Let's close it out here. Isaac, who do you have as your Coach of the Year?
This is actually a tougher award than you think. I in my opinion, Natalie Nakase, she's been excellent leading an expansion team to the playoffs. That has not really happened before, and she's been as a first year head coach in the WNBA. Awesome, but for this purpose, I have to show out the amazing work that Carl Simsko for the Atlanta Dream did. This guy. I mean, we're looking at the women's college basketball version of John Beilein, who's having a successful pro coach career. To come from never coached in the WNBA to be the founding head coach of Florida Gulf Coast, founding Division I head coach when they moved up from D2 to Division I, and from coaching at Walsh, being Maryland's assistant, to now coming in no waters, no experience whatsoever, and putting on the season that he did for the Atlanta Dream, you would think they were crazy to hire him. The difference between Natalie has an edge on him because, well, she's been in the league. She's been around this. She's been around great organizations. She's got a couple championships as a coach. She's known as a developer. It was going to eventually happen for her to be a head coach. This dude, we had no idea. We had no idea what we were going to get with the Atlanta Dream. And for that, although I do love Coach from the Valkyries, I got to give it to my man, Carl.
All right, Troy?
I'm going with Natalie Nakase because, honestly, I think she just exceeded expectations in a level that I don't think anybody was prepared for. The Atlanta Dream had a good team. They have all-star players. They should be where they are and over the course of the season. Nobody expected the Valkyries to come out this year and make the playoffs. And I feel like, with the team I'm not saying limited talent because they have some good players on it, but they don't have the type of players that you would expect to come out and play the way that they did this season. And I thought that, she was just pretty much a chef in the kitchen. Give me whatever you kind of ingredients you got. I'm going to come out here and make a good meal. And I thought that she really did her job over the course of this season, and they would not have been in the position that they were in if it wasn't for her. And so I was highly impressed with just her X's and O's. Her clock management, her game management over the course of the season. They beat the Mystics 5 times, so it's I got up and close and personal being able to watch those games, and it's I wish she was coaching our team. How about that?
Hey, look, and she also, that team, it set a very unreal and unfair expectation for both Toronto and Portland coming into this league. As these other expansion teams are probably going to think that they have the chance to make the playoffs. Golden State just did. I don't think that's going to be likely. And so I totally understand Nakase being the choice. For me, it was tough, but just because of the way the Aces closed out their season, I think I got to go villain mode. I'm going to go Becky Hammond for this.
No.
Because they massively turned their season around. Let me go all on board with this. I vibe with that. All right, let's go ahead and just also note before we end this segment, The official WNBA awards, they haven't been announced. These were just the AP awards, and so everything that we're doing is just pure speculation. But they will be unveiling their awards as the playoffs progress. And speaking of playoffs, real quick, what team is everyone choosing for the playoffs, Isaac?
Minnesota.
Troy?
I'm going with the Aces. They lost in damn 3 months. Like, I'm going with them.
It's a
and they
stud,
got the
but-
best player. Look, I'm going with the Aces.
It's the stud buds. I mean, what are you going? They know how to close, and I think they'll be the ones that try to knock off the Aces. And Minnesota, great fan base, and to be honest, I can't wait for them to do the electric slide to that title.
All right.
So-
We're going to do a commercial again. When we get back, we'll have the four-court press to grade the off seasons of the Atlantic Division. You're listening to the Capital Hoop Caucus on ESPN 630 and the ESPN 630 app.